Good morning. Welcome back to a new morning segment, The Walk and Talk. I'm your host, the Crypto Father, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about standards of beauty. And why are we going to talk about that? Well, to give you a synopsis, it was my wife's birthday a few days ago, and last night she showed me a picture she had taken of herself at while at her friend's house. She was invited by her friends, and so her and my kids went over to her friend's house to play with their friends. And while she was there, the children, I guess, and the moms threw a little surprise party for her, and she was sitting down with the cake in front of her, and the lights out and the candles glowing, and she placed her hands on her face for a certain reason, and she had a good chuckle at it because, as she showed me later on last night, she was imitating a celebrity here in Korea. Just like any other part of the world, Korea has its own standards of beauty, and clearly beauty goes is referred to when we talk about the women. Men are not beautiful by any stretch of the imagination, and for the most part, from the information I gathered from a number of sources, women tend to be placed into two categories here. The cats and the dogs, not based on their pet preferences, but rather based on their looks. Just to give you a quick example, this would be a cat face, and this would be a dog face, right? I'm sure there are other categories, but I've heard time and time again that women were belonging to either one of those groups. So while this may not be while this probably is a generalization on how men perceive women here in Korea, this does occur frequently enough for it to be mentioned by both men and women. So Koreans have a somewhat limited perception of what beauty is. Most men prefer the V-shaped face, which is why women oftentimes place both palms on their face in an angular fashion on the side of their cheeks, thus forming a V-shaped pattern at the bottom of their faces and giving them this look. Could have something to do with the high cheekbones in the Asian population. I don't know, that's partially it. A lot of Asian countries, Thailand, Korea, Japan, seem to have developed a liking for the Western look, for the white skin and large eyes and, I guess, longer faces. So while the faces in the Asian features tend to be a little bit rounder, which is the reason why girls will oftentimes try to make themselves look slimmer. Here's our morning crew exercising. They do this every day. Exercise followed by kind of encouragement routine and whatnot. So back to the topic at hand. For the most part, it seems that people have three kinds of beauty. The rounder face, the thinner face, and the even thinner, slimmer face, the V-shaped face. And it's almost hard to find any man or anybody who thinks, this includes women as well, it's hard to find people who think that then any norm or any person that is outside of the prescribed norm of the three faces is not pretty or is not beautiful enough. And in a culture where people focus on looks so much, you know, I'm sure this could be quite detrimental to a lot of folks. It's good for for the business of plastic surgery, and it's probably the reason why it's booming, both in Thailand, Asia, and I assume in Japan as well. Plastic surgeons probably have a mold that they place over any woman's face that chooses to have either her eyelids cut in order to make her eyes look more Western. Many women here get plastic surgeries on their eyes in order to give themselves an eye line. If you don't know what an eye line is, it's that little line right above your head, right above your eye, right here, basically the fold that Westerners have and Asians do not have. The majority of Asians do not have, because of their, you know, bone structure, their facial structure. So women can go, men do it as well in Korea, can go to a plastic surgeon, and it's just a routine surgery. It takes probably a few minutes, and it's just an incision and then maybe stitching. There are also other methods. Girls in high school and middle schools often use glue, or they use sticks to rub their eyes in order to create those folds. And if you do it long enough, I guess the idea is that, you know, the skin eventually molds into the fold, and you get an eye line. So a few years back, during the Miss Korea pageant, somebody posted, there was a picture or meme circulating around the internet with, I guess, about 20 beauty pageants contestants, and they were posted in a row in a consecutive session. Their pictures were posted on the internet and appearing in a consecutive session, and the joke was that it was really hard to tell whether these 20 women were different women or if it was a picture of the same woman being shown over and over again with possibly different hairstyles. And the point of that was that, like I said, the standard of beauty here is very prescribed and it's very specific. And if you don't look a certain way, or if you don't look the particular way, then you're not pretty enough, and you may not qualify to be considered beautiful. Which is, you know, it's kind of sad, because I would like to believe that in the West, people have all kinds of tastes. People, you know, as the saying says, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And large, people in Korea, Japan and Thailand in particular, they prefer the lighter tone of skin as well. So especially in Thailand you can find cosmetic products like soaps, shampoos and other body washes that have the label, you know, whitening scribbled all blatantly on top of them. Well, not blatantly, but purposely, because that's the point that sells. In Korea, the reason for why you know, dark skin was associated with farming for a very long time, and like I said in my last video, there was a huge move of Koreans moving away from countrysides, away from farming to the cities, because that's where money was, and you know, farming was becoming to be considered as a lesser career or lesser lifestyle to be pursuing, right? And because farmers spend a lot of time in the sunshine and their skin tends to get darker, therefore having a darker skin was and still is to this day less preferable. Koreans in particular spend a lot of time hiding away from the sun. On the most beautiful days, sunny days, people will just, you know, wear ridiculously large hats, do anything, cover themselves, wear gloves and long sleeves just to cover themselves up from the sun. In a way it's good, you know, thinning ozone layers and such, strong UV rays, cancer. It's good to take precautions and use some sunscreen and cover yourself up. But I think South Koreans overdo it. They push it into excess, in my opinion. But that's my humble opinion. I dare you to disagree. So yeah, I don't know. That's my 5 cents on the standards of beauty in Korea. If you have any comments, if you agree or disagree, chime in, drop a comment below the link. So that's it for today's walk and talk. I hope you enjoyed this little rumble. Tomorrow is another day and another topic that I can come up with. Look at this, how tricky. I hit the sun right behind my head, so you're not blinded by its beauty. And so I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, Crypto Father out.